Evelyn always feared the dark. As a child, she would stare into the inky void of her unlit bedroom, convinced something was watching her. Her parents dismissed her fears, saying, "There's nothing in the dark that isn't there in the light." But Evelyn knew better. Darkness wasn't empty, it was alive. As an adult, she'd managed to push the fear aside until the night she moved into her grandmother's crumbling house. The house was old, full of creaks and drafts, but nothing unsettled her more than the basement door. It was a heavy wooden door at the end of the hall, its keyhole surrounded by scratches, as though someone or something had clawed at it from the inside. The hallway lights always flickered near it. Evelyn avoided the door, but at night she swore she heard something, a faint, dragging sound coming from below. On the third night, power went out. The house plunged into total darkness. Evelyn fumbled for candles, but as she lit one, she noticed something strange. The shadows weren't staying where they should. Instead, they pooled together at the end of the hall, gathering around the basement door. Slowly, the sound returned, a dragging, shuffling noise, growing louder and closer with every breath. Unable to take it any longer, Evelyn grabbed a flashlight and moved toward the door. Her trembling hands gripped the handle, and as she pulled, the door creaked open to reveal the basement stairs, descending into blackness. Her flashlight beam barely pierced the dark, but she stepped down anyway, the noise now echoing louder around her. Halfway down, her light flickered. She froze. From the bottom of the steps, something moved. The flashlight went out completely. Evelyn stood paralyzed, swallowed by pitch black. A voice whispered her name, soft and guttural, as though coming from inside her own head. Then she felt it, cold, claw-like fingers brushing against her ankle. She stumbled backward, screaming as something heavy began dragging itself up the stairs. In the faint moonlight, spilling from the hallway above, she saw it, something blacker than black itself, a writhing mass of shadows with hollow, empty eyes. Evelyn bolted up the stairs, slamming the basement door behind her. She pushed a chair under the handle and backed away, trembling. The dragging sound didn't stop. It grew louder, pounding against the door as the wood began to splinter. She grabbed her keys and ran for the front door, but the entire house seemed darker now, as if the shadows were seeping from beneath the basement. Finally, outside, she looked back just in time to see the house windows go black, one by one. Evelyn didn't return to the house, but the darkness followed her. At night, the shadows in her apartment seemed darker. She'd wake to find them pooling in corners, creeping toward her bed. And sometimes, when the lights flickered, she could hear it, that faint, dragging sound coming closer. There's nothing in the dark that isn't there in the light. But Evelyn knew now the dark was never empty.